I mean, the market was down just about a full percent earlier it was on the NASDAQ, it was down over a full percent, and it was down nearly a percent on the Dow and the S&P, and we only ended up being down about 0.4%, so it's not too bad. If we take out our Craft Brew Alliance, we're still up about $5,000, on our original $120,000 investment, so about 4% for the semester. I think we're actually coming in a little bit below the market. I'm not sure, because the S&P was up about 4.5% just in November alone. But I don't remember. We'd have to go back and see what it did in October. I don't know what the S&P did in October. So there we are. So just a few things. After I've gone through everybody's intro and conclusion, you guys should have got some feedback from me, good, bad, or indifferent. A few kind of generic things. One, I keep reminding you, and most of you did better, but there's still a few that didn't. You need to summarize all the main points of the paper in both the intro and the conclusion. Okay, make sure you do that. Okay. 2, some of you got a little bit wordy in your intros and conclusions, and you're not going to leave enough room. Luke's laughing. You're not going to leave enough room to write your paper. Okay, and especially the analysis. Remember, you got 5 pages here. Like Carl was saying earlier, you got a half a page for the intro, maybe half a page for the conclusion. That leaves you 4 pages. Okay, 3 or 2.5 or 3 of those pages ought to be, probably 2.5 of those pages ought to be your financial analysis. That's real rough. Don't sit there and put little marks on your paper and try to make it turn out exactly that way. That's not what I want to see. I just want to see that you're putting the emphasis on the financial analysis, the business finance class, right? The other stuff's just so I get a little background on your company and whatnot. Okay. A lot of generic terms. A lot of you probably got little comments from me. That was a generic comment that you made. And by that I mean, I'd get to the conclusion and you're telling me why you would invest in that company, and I'd get a lot of phrases that would say like, well, the financials of the company were really good. What in the hell does that mean? Okay? I have absolutely no flipping idea what the hell that means, right? The financials of the company. Did you use that phrase, Luke?
No, I didn't. I'm kind of proud of myself here. The only thing I got was 2 words.
Okay, and it doesn't make sense to me because the financials are so many things. And why do I say that?
Let's
look. I was listening at halftime at noon. I was home and I'm listening to CNBC like I was doing. They're talking about Apache Corporation, which is a oil well drilling company. And they're saying their balance sheet's all screwed up. They got a lot of debt. Okay, they might be making money hand over fist. They very well could be. Okay, on the income statement side, they might be getting all kinds of cash flow, right? But they may be over their heads in debt. Okay, so when you say their financials are good, what financials? I don't know. Okay, and obviously you would have explained that in the analysis. I get that. Okay, but just beware that when you get to your conclusion that you don't give me that kind of a generic statement to try to justify whether or not I should buy, sell, or hold that particular company's stock, right? Okay, that just doesn't do it, You might say something, given the example that I just said, you might say, boy, Apache has a whole lot of debt. Their balance sheet is highly leveraged, okay, but the company has very good income. They should be able to overcome the debt, and because of that, I'm, think that you ought to buy the stock. Words to that effect, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. I mean, you got to tie it together. The generic financials just doesn't cut it. Okay, and I know a lot of you haven't done that thorough analysis yet. Should have. I was hoping you'd have done that when I got your outlines and whatnot, so that we could be fine tuning it now. But we got to get into some of that a little bit deeper with everybody's company, so that I know what you're looking at, right? So that you can write a good paper. So that's what you ought to be doing. Is hitting me up. Is this what should be in the paper, or is that what should be in the paper? And we'll take it from there. You can ask me too about the recommendation. That's fine too. I don't care. And the recommendation doesn't matter, right? I don't care if you say buy, sell, or hold. It doesn't matter. If I agree with you or disagree with you, I don't care. That doesn't matter. Okay? We have a right to differ on that. I won't grade you at all on that. I won't say you're crazy, So, okay, don't worry about that. Questions? Questions about comments on the intro or conclusion? And lastly, I would say too, there was way more writing errors than what I would like to see. I ended up correcting a lot of those, and I hate that when I got to do that on the final papers. You know, spelling, grammar. I wrote this on several papers too. Let's say write short, concise sentences. You might have got that one too, Luke. Because
You're worried.
okay. We tend to write as we speak. I get that. I do the same thing. Okay, we tend to write as we speak. We tend to ramble on when we speak. Okay, but when you're writing, that makes a lot less sense. Okay, almost any sentence that you put a but or an and in, you can just about put a period and start a new sentence. That's not universal. Okay, but just take a look at that when you're writing sentences, and if you get a sentence that's getting to be about 3 or 4 lines long, go back and reread that. Occasionally that's appropriate, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that's never appropriate, but for the most part those can be rewritten and they'll make a lot more sense. Some of those sentences, when I wrote comments about it, I read them 3 or 4 times and I still couldn't understand what the person was trying to tell me. Okay? And that's because they just kind of rambled and almost changed subjects maybe midstream. So don't do that. Okay? Okay. I'll quit now and let you guys get to work, and I'll come around and give you more specific